Hey guys, what's going
Hi.
on?
How
Let's
are
get
you
some time.
guys? Let's get some.
Flawless here, connecting with you guys. Oh
Hey,
wow, it's a
Southern
party in the comments
Race,
already.
Exotics,
Ty Kelly, what's going
AJ,
on?
Leah, Ty.
Hey, what's going on? Hopefully everybody's having a great evening
Yes.
and they're still in there Friday night with us.
Friday night with us.
It's gonna be a pretty awesome episode.
Hey,
Jennifer,
Jennifer.
what's up? We're gonna be debuting Roach Hollow.
Yes.
Good friend of mine.
Stephanie Buck.
Yes, Stephanie has been doing this a while, and we are, how do you say, flabbergasted every time we see her at the show vending.
We just
She
love
gives
her.
1,000% of herself to her collection.
You can tell she gives her
display.
whole heart.
And not just that, it's too, and which is what all this is about with Patreon and everything. Not plugging it, but it's about applying yourself and putting everything into yourself and how to make yourself better. And we even us, we do our research trying to figure out where can we improve and how can we help. And we figured that this was the best thing to do. Just put it on our platform and hopefully put it in front of some of our viewers and get some eyes, spotlight some people.
On everyone.
Absolutely.
For those of you who support us so faithfully, we want to give back to you guys the same.
Absolutely. And Stephanie, she's a road runner. So we're going to, really dig into some of her road stories. Yes. And maybe she'll tell us some very unique adventures. Because being on that road, working for yourself, quite a few things, happen. Especially like if you're in the passenger seat, and you get that that warning lights because Archer's rides on the edge of the road, about to ride off the cliff. So we're gonna dig in. We're gonna bring her on now. Mm-hmm. So without further ado, let's roll into it.
Let's bring on Stephanie.
Hey!
Hi guys.
Hi.
Good. How's it going?
It's awesome.
Great.
It's awesome. How are you?
I am good. I'm good. It's actually in my advanced age. 9 p.m. is pretty much my bedtime.
Oh no.
But so no, I'm prepared. I took a nap earlier today, me and my
Yeah, I did too. Definitely. So we're gonna skip ahead just a little bit. How long have you been breeding crested geckos?
Crested geckos, I want to say 2019.
Okay.
So I started breeding gargoyle geckos before I even owned a crested gecko.
Wow.
Backwards, I guess. So I started the gargoyles in 2018, and then the next year I added the crested geckos.
Okay. Did you see, any differences between the start of you doing guards versus the start of you getting into the cresties, or about the same?
Like in what aspect?
As far as maybe as far as them being prolific, breeders, easy to breed because they were not prolific for us.
No, they were not.
Yes.
Slow. Garbs are
yes.
More
so gargoyles aren't quite as prolific as crested geckos, and not having had the experience of breeding geckos prior to the gargoyles, I didn't have anything to compare it to, and so my female gargoyles, they would they lay me maybe 6 fertile eggs
really
in a year. Yeah.
Wow.
And so I was like, okay, I can handle this, whatever. I started out with 3 female gargoyles because, I didn't want to overwhelm myself. And, I'm kind of dipping my foot into it, it's something new. And then, so I had 3 girls. I got, about 6 babies from each girl, and which was perfect for me because it allowed me to learn how to take care of babies and hatch them and all that stuff. And then I was like, okay, I got a pet crested gecko, and I'm like, I love these little things. They're just so adorable and derpy. And I was like, let's breed them, because it's the same. You breed them the same way. You incubate the eggs the same way, pretty
Right.
much same across the board. And then the crested gecko started spitting out all these eggs, and I had all these babies hatching. And I was like, I'm thinking, what are these bunnies? So for me, it was the opposite experience of most breeders. I was like, okay, well, this is doable. And then the crested geckos, and now I've got like a ton of crested geckos. So, but yeah, they don't seem to be quite as prolific. And a lot of breeders that I've spoken to that are more heavily into crested geckos
Right.
are, I think it's a combination of breeding gargoyles the same way they do cresties, and I guess the expectation that they're going to put out the same amount of numbers as crested geckos, and that's breeding.
Yeah.
So
Right. Gotcha. Makes sense. Makes sense. So when you first jumped in, did you jump head first, or did you just kind of get a couple, figure it out, or did you go out and get 10?
No, I actually, it was, it was kind of like, I'm not good with change. So I'm not very adventurous. I don't try new things. The fact that I went from a 9 to 5 like career job my entire life to really like selling lizards, people like, what do you do? And I still say, I sell lizards for a living,
We know that.
Yeah, right.
You need help? Are you okay?
Yeah. So I started small just because I didn't, and it was really just mostly for the fun of it. I enjoyed keeping them as something that I wanted to experience. And it actually kind of, so I did start small, and I built up, over a couple years to the point where now I'm at max capacity for the space. So.
And what did you do prior? What field were you in?
I was an account manager for a manufacturing company.
Okay. 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 So
very boring.
Yeah, you made the transition where I think you built probably a lot of patience with that job to be able to come over into this field.
I used to have a ton of patience. Okay. I'm like, okay, I'll buy this little baby gecko and grow it up and yada, and it'll be a couple years. And at this point, I'm out of patience. I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy this adult gecko over here because I don't want to wait 5 years till producing babies from it. So I think I've gotten more impatient as time goes on.
See, and that, people ask us the same thing. Why do you, sell bigger geckos? And I guess that's who we're targeting. The impatient.
Right?
So,
yes.
But getting into it, did you start off like checking for pores? Were you very good and effective checking? Are you really comfortable? I guess saying, possible male, possible female. What's some of your guidelines on offering babies, either on your table or for sale online? What's some of your guidelines?
So I have had, I'm trying to think, my success rate for sexing gargoyles and crested geckos. Actually, gargoyles, and that's another difference between gargoyles and cresties. Gargs, it's a little bit different sexing them. They have a lot more pores, even females. So if you're used to, and then you try doing the other, it's like, I don't know. So every once in a while, I'm not great at pore sexing babies. So I generally will just tell people, this is what I see. If I don't see pores, if I do see pores, but there's no guarantee. So
Right.
I don't start selling my geckos until they're about 8 to 10 grams. I don't sell them little teeny tiny, but I
Right.
don't wait till they're basically full grown.
Right.
And so I'm like, okay, well, this is what I see, I don't see, but there's no guarantee at this point. Of course, once they're adult and I know what's going on, then I actually I have nightmares that my female crested geckos turn to boys. Am I the only one that do?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
That's fact.
Hey, it gives some of the best.
My egg laying females, right?
Oh, her egg is already egg. Yeah,
my
that's
egg laying females right here. I'll have a dream. I don't. Maybe I'm just like I need to cut back on the coffee at night or something. But I'll have a dream. My girls was actually a boy, and I wake up and I'm like, oh, did something what happened here?
Like, I'm pretty sure I have babies from this one.
Exactly. Yeah.
So how long have you been pretty much self-employed in doing the shows and basically your own small business?
Let me see. It is September. It's been a year and a half.
Oh wow. Still
yeah, it hasn't been that long.
Wow, that's wow. And you've already, not to jump the gun, but you've already vended Tinley.
Mm-hmm.
I know. Isn't that amazing? When I got the email, it was kind of funny. When I got the email notification that they had a table, one table available for me, and that's all you need.
Yeah.
I was at the Nashville Exotic Pet Expo, and I saw the email, and it was very simple. There's one table available. It was like nobody signed the email. And I thought it was like spam or something.
Right.
And I ran over to Tristan at the Gecko Junkie. And I was like, Tristan, look at this. Is this legit? Like, really? I couldn't believe it. Yeah. So.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That was the moment. We just bugged the crap out
of them. Oh my goodness! Well, they told us to.
Yeah.
We tried to.
Kristen,
as possible.
Kristen that she pretty much keeps everybody like going. Kristen, and she kept telling us, she's like, I don't want to tell you to be that one, but be that one. And she's like, just keep calling them. Call them. She gave us the number.
Yeah. And that's, squeaky wheel. And that's actually, so she's the one that, I just went up there to attend the show. So I was up there and a friend of mine said, why don't you sign up to vend? And I thought, okay, whatever. I didn't expect really to get anything, get anywhere with it. And Kristen, I talked to her and she said, and she was very helpful. And she said, okay, put everything that you sell, list everything, not just, the geckos and whatever, because the more to offer, the more likelihood. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. And so really basically, I think that's, because half of my business is isopods, invertebrates, mantises, spiders, stuff like that. And so that's really how, I kind of got my foot in the door.
Makes sense. So let's touch base on some of that. What got you into isopods? What kind do you keep?
No. So with the isopods, going back, I'm gonna go back on my word here. I didn't start breeding gargoyles first. I started breeding isopods, and that was kind of a complete fluke.
Really?
I bought a tank and a gargoyle gecko. So I was like, okay, well, I went to the local expo and I'm like, I wanted a gargoyle gecko. That they're coolest thing. And then I brought it home and, I started doing research. I don't know anything about anything at this point. and I ran across bioactive enclosures. And so I was like, all right, well, let's do this. They're beautiful. They're aesthetically pleasing. It's a great environment, especially for an arboreal species. And so I'm like, all right, well, I need bugs, for this bioactive setup. And I found them, and I ended up paying about $50 for just like basic amount of bugs to go in this tank. So I thought, well, I might as well culture them because I'm going to end up with more reptiles because I'm not in denial. I have a problem, and so I'm culturing these bugs in tubs so I can make more bioactive tanks. And then I got, and it was all really kind of like an accidental, it fell into place. I got to the point where I was like, well, if I'm paying this much for bugs, then maybe I can sell these things.
Right.
And that happened. And I went because I'm local to the Chattanooga, Tennessee. And so I signed up for one table at the local RepCon, and all I had were isopods. And I made, I'll never forget this, I made $600 in a weekend off of bugs.
That's awesome.
And I thought, that is more than my paycheck. And I just kept on going. So, yeah.
Wow.
That's what I thought. Like the first show that we went to was Fort Mill, and I couldn't go because I was working still at a sheriff's office, and I was, on night shift at that point in time, so I was having to sleep during the day and whatnot. And he calls me, like, I guess it was it Saturday or Sunday? It was either the first or second day, obviously. And he sends me a picture of like the bit of money that he had picked up or whatever, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure you just got paid more than I made this entire month working as a sheriff's deputy. I'm done with it. Like, I said, this is not worth it. So I feel you on that. Like, that's exact story.
So when you got that major win after that weekend, that was kind of your realization point of, I know what I need to be doing. What was the game plan after that?
So let me see. Oh boy, it's been a little while. At that point, it was kind of like supplemental income for me, right?
Right.
I've got my steady job. I've got this nice supplement income that's basically going to pay for all the cool reptiles that I want to buy. And then I guess when a couple years later, it got to the point where I was doing enough business that I couldn't manage it by myself. And so I hired somebody part-time to work for me. Because, I mean, and you guys know, the time and energy it takes to take care of so many animals, that's a lot. And so still working full time, I was like, okay, at that point, I was like, I have to make a decision. I either need to cut back a little bit on the geckos and the bugs, or I need to hire somebody to help me, or I need to not work. Well, at that point, I wasn't comfortable with not having a full-time job. And so I did. I hired somebody part-time to come in. And it really kind of, it just naturally snowballed from there, where I was making more money doing this than I was at my job. And I mean, I hate to say it, but I wasn't happy at my job. Most people, of course, most people aren't. And then my job was interfering with my business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So do it every time. Yeah.
And so it was at that point that I had to make that decision of, you know, do I take that leap of faith, you know, and do this full time? Can I make enough money to actually support myself without a paycheck, without a steady paycheck, which is probably for a lot of people one of the most terrifying things. I don't know about you guys, but it took me a good 2 years before I was willing to even consider.
I was
Yeah.
like, let's roll.
Yep.
She was so
Yep. I was like,
it got to the point. We should have did it a long time ago. It got so bad. It was to the point she was working. She was still working, and it was costing us money. We were losing money basically with her working.
Yeah.
Was that
I can see it. Yeah. So that's really something that, and it's a lot of work. But it was 100% worth that decision that I made. It was probably one of the most difficult like life decisions that I made, and I don't want to go back. I don't ever want. I love what I do, and you know, I make money doing it. So
yes.
You get to travel a little bit, you know, you get to hang out with like-minded people.
Yes.
You still get to learn.
Oh, definitely.
The business side of things, everybody does things different.
Yeah.
We like to take a little bit from here and there and just kind of just listen, you know, be like with a sponge, absorb it all in.
And then we take it and spin it and put our own flavor on it,
and run with it.
It works for each and individual business like that.
And then the shows themselves, though, to be able to see a lot of the kids and the smiles on their faces. And it's funny because a lot of the grown-ups have the same smile when it comes to the table. They come get their Gecko.
They're like the kids. I'm too.
They do.
Like,
Yes.
They absolutely do. 2 or 3 shows ago, a woman brought her teenage daughter to the expo, and was it? Oh, I can't remember. I'm gone. I'm so like everywhere all the time that I can't remember where I was. This lady, I'm actually showing this wonderful teenage girl, talking to her about crested geckos and explaining she wanted a reptile. She didn't know what she wanted exactly. She was kind of, thinking of snakes. And her mom, so I asked her mom, I said, do you want to pet him? And she backed up and she was like, no, I don't want anything to do with it. And 30 minutes later, the mom bought a gecko from me.
That's how it happened.
Yep, that's
The
how
mom.
it really is.
That's exactly how it happened.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So in the last year and a half, to your knowledge, how many shows have you done?
A lot.
I know you be on run.
Almost every weekend I'm vending a show. So I just updated my schedule for up to the end of the year. So just to give you an idea, from now until the end of the year, I am scheduled to vend 15 shows.
Wow. You go, lady.
It's a lot of work, of course.
It is.
It's a lot of travel, but I like traveling. I don't mind driving. It gives me a chance to kind of just, relax, and driving doesn't bother me. So, it gives me a couple hours to, listen to an audiobook or turn on some music and just kind of enjoy the me time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
Wow.
And I think we've, with us, the shows that we've gone to that have been like way over the normal, like 3 to 4 hours of driving, like 10 and 13
hours,
14-hour drive. Those kind of, I guess, get a little tedious. Like I get tired, but like the one through Daytona, if we hadn't have been just up like 24 hours before, like we were up the entire time.
Straight.
Yeah, from Wednesday morning to Thursday night, we were awake. So but that drive isn't bad at all. Like it's a pretty pleasant, easy drive.
It is.
Definitely.
So I have a general rule, and I mean it may change in the future, but at this point, because I'm a one-man show, or
Right.
one woman. So basically I go within a 5-hour radius of where I am.
Okay.
So basically the Southeast. There are exceptions, of course. Tinley. I will drive 10 hours to go to Tinley. Who would?
Yes.
And the bigger the farther shows, I always enlist a buddy to help me drive, and hang out with me and keep me company.
Right. That's a cool little road trip.
Yeah, it's always like so. He'll drive for a little while, and then I pick up, and typically I drive the rest of the way. He'll drive like
Same.
He'll start out, and it's done.
Yeah,
Unless
exactly the same. If I'm in the car with somebody, then they'll drive, maybe 2 hours, then the next like 7 hours I'm driving.
Yeah.
Wow. So let's say you're planning for a show next weekend, a Saturday, Sunday show. When do you start your prep for that show, and what does it look like?
Thursdays. So, I think I've gotten down a good schedule, because I have to be organized. I'm a lot like Audra. I'm all over the place,
God bless you. God bless you. Oh my goodness, I feel bad for you.
I start one thing and then I get distracted. And, I got to go check on the hatchlings. And wait a minute, I got to do this. And, I forgot to. Yeah. So I really need to have a very set schedule of what I need to do and when I need to get it done. And so I start on Thursdays prepping for a show for that weekend. I get all the non-live stuff ready, packed up to go, and in the car. Friday morning usually is all the live stuff. So I pack up, I cup all the bugs. I pre-label all the gecko cups and put paper towels in there so that the last thing I do before I leave is just put the geckos in the cups. So everything's ready to go. And then when I'm leaving either Friday night or Saturday morning, I just get up, I put the geckos in their cups and roll out.
Wow. Yeah, no Team Audra comments in the comments, please. No. Sometimes I tell her, just don't even talk to me. Just stop talking.
He is. He's so like.
Just don't talk to me.
It's like I was just like tonight. I was driving home and I said I had looked at. We were meeting a customer to deliver a gecko or whatnot, and I had noticed that he had given them a gas station that was way past where they were, and I was like, "Hey, why don't you tell them, or why don't this academy? I think is where we told him to meet us. Then academy is closer, and that would be better for them." And he was like,
cool.
"Okay, cool." And I said, "Well, I'm driving, so you might want to text him and let him know I can't." He's like,
Ain't that the reason you called me? Why are you still talking to me?
Why are you telling me that? Like, why are you telling me to write this text message? I'm saying okay, and it's just like stuff like that. He'll say, stop talking. Like I can't handle it. So they're like, what about this? And what about this?
My brain don't work that way.
You know.
Audra is literally like a ping pong ball. You go and you see the detour sign and it says no right turn. She needs to go right, but it says no right turn. Here's the detour. Follow it. Now she will follow the detour and make it all the way home and get home and want to tell me, I wonder why that road was closed. It was closed. Do you know why? No, I don't know why. I got home.
Yeah, well,
on my mind.
and that, and that's, and I have to give my husband a ton of credit for putting up with not only me and my crazy, but all of this stuff, everything. He helps me a lot, considering that he's not very involved with the business. But yeah, he's very, very patient with me.
Awesome.
Well, he's not with me.
I think it's the best method. It really is. It's worked. We're getting married in less than a month.
He's
It's
just
working.
lucky. I love him.
Yeah.
He's
Exactly.
I told
say
her
the same thing.
I love her for the rest of her life.
However, she
The question is, how long are you gonna live, Will? I mean,
Yeah, no, me, very long.
I'm gonna give him a heart attack.
Oh man,
I can be aggravating.
So to get onto the show scene, doing your very, very first show, what was your feelings? What was the mood? What was your nerves? What was your anxiety level? Were you just calm, or were you kind of frantic and anxiety building? What was it like?
I just wanted to throw up the whole time. I was so nervous. I was so incredibly nervous.
You'd be like me.
Yeah.
Because he's like, God,
Yeah.
we just do it, and I'm over here like, get everything right. Yeah.
Exactly. What am I forgetting? Did I forget something? Did I bring everything? Yeah, and it is. So then that's funny. So I had, and I still do. It doesn't go away. It lessens. Did I pack everything? Like the prep is what for me is stressful. Getting set up, making sure everything is perfect and in its place, because I'm very specific of how I want things set up.
Right.
And how big, because I've got bioactive stuff, I've got bugs, I've got geckos, I've got a lot of different things. And once I'm done with that and everything's good and the show starts, then I enjoy myself because I get to talk to people. I literally get to sit there for 2 days and play with geckos.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Yep.
Wow.
Well, it's funny because when we start packing up the vehicles and stuff, I am very I want it a certain way, and he just goes and just does it, and I'm sitting there scratching myself because I'm just getting anxious because I didn't want that there. I wanted it right here.
And I'm whatever.
And he's it would take me literally 24 hours to do something that he can do in 10 because I am so and I'm indecisive about it. Is that going to be the best right there? But then I could do it over here. So there's 99 different thought processes going through my head at that particular time when he's
exactly.
Yeah.
Doesn't it annoy you that it only takes him 10 minutes to do something and it takes you so much longer? I'm like, why can't I do it in 10 minutes?
Oh, he aggravates the hound out of me. It's funny because we've been getting arguments because I'd be irritated with him because he's doing it better and faster. And I had all these different images in my head of how great it would be. And then he just started doing it. And I'm just pissed at that point. I'm just pouting. Yep. I get in the car and then he'll make fun of me sticking my lip out. So it's just always something like that. Yes. Lord.
Man, you gotta have fun with it.
Definitely.
So, how easy was it? Because when we did our first show, it was extremely easy to network. Whether it was actually Tristan with Gecko Junkie was the first person to really welcome us into the vending circle of being able to become a vendor, socialize, network with everyone, kind of let us in on where's the hangout, where's the get-togethers after the shows, where you can, meet new people. He was really, really welcoming.
And then,
to this day,
yeah. Then it was just
Tristan's wonderful.
Yeah, he is. He's he's the gateway.
Yes,
it's the gateway to the show. Yeah, because he really truly, I think he believes that in his heart that he wants to help everyone, and
Right.
he thinks that we can all, like we think, we can all raise to the top together. Like it's
Absolutely.
not just a, oh, this person's in it for just this, and I like that about Tristan.
And
He's
also
just,
about the projects, is as far as the animals, you have to have a love for the animals. You have to have sight, foresight there. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to create? You can start with one thing and end. You can switch things up. You can start over. You can do your own thing. It doesn't matter. And I think that's the number one, I think, thing we try to kind of put out there, because once you get hooked, you get hooked on them, then you want to collect them all.
yes.
Right.
But between getting hooked and collecting them all, there's that phase where you research, and you reach out to anyone that's welcoming to you and willing to entertain conversation. And what is the question all the time? What should I get into?
What should I get into?
Worst question ever.
Yeah, it really
You just
is.
gotta. What do you like?
What do you like?
Just go after
Exactly.
What
What do you like? What do you enjoy? And
Yep.
yeah, and that's very important, because if you don't enjoy what you're doing, then and maybe it's not, I mean, just for me, I'm not going to put 110% into something that I don't absolutely love.
Absolutely.
And
No,
that's so that's probably the one of my favorite things about the industry is the people that I have met and that I continue to meet, and they're just such wonderful, friendly people that are willing to help you.
Right.
You guys, I mean, you're awesome. You're just like, here, we are going to, share it with everybody, and it's not just, you know, it's how to make your business better, which
Yeah.
you don't see a whole lot of that. You don't, yeah. I mean, Tristan's great. Tristan, he's really good about being very welcoming and, bringing you into his, his circle and his life. And I adore him.
Absolutely.
I see a lot because we both vend in the same area, and which is so, he's not like, oh, she's like my competition. I'm not going to
Right.
sell because
Absolutely.
she's
Yeah.
here. That's
Yeah.
not the kind of attitude that, I don't think anybody should have. And
Yeah,
so
you're
I kind of, in the expo, because I'm more on the expo side of everything. I don't do a whole lot of stuff online. I don't do a whole social media. And so, I kind of try to pay it forward to people, new people just starting out. And that's one of the biggest things is, somebody contact me and they'll be like, I've never vended at expo before. Can you tell me how to go about doing it? And I'm like, sure, come on, let's go. I'll show it, because I was there. And so, and that's what makes me happy as a person is
Absolutely.
like, if I can make other people happy and successful and to help them do things that they enjoy, then that makes me happy.
Right. And
we wouldn't have met some of the most amazing friends and just people in general if we hadn't have gotten into vending the shows. I mean,
yeah, that's always going to be there. We're always going to be vending shows. We're always going to be ripping and running. It's very important to us because you can get out there with the people no matter where they are. Especially you're doing it full time. You're setting your schedule. You're throwing your schedule out there. But you have to, still follow that business plan, whatever your business plan may be, and try to expand in places there's needs.
Exactly.
That's been the other hard and difficult part. Owning businesses outside of this industry and kind of trying to implement a lot of those practices. Most of them apply, but not all of them. I think that's where we, kind of all get stuck. When we get into it, and it's a lot of time, it's mostly just going to be fun with the animals, loving the animals, taking care of the animals, but bringing in supplemental income. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think people, and it's just an opinion, if you don't get your ducks in a row when you decide, I'm going to take this leap, I'm having so much fun, I'm going to make it a full blown business, to actually think about what's next, what's the business plan, what do I do? Like, what do I do with my time? Because it actually bit us in the behind. When we went full time, we're like, oh, we're gonna have all this time. We ain't working our 9 to 5. Like, we're gonna have so much. We don't have no time. we don't have no time. Like,
Zero time.
Yes.
Zero time. Like, because there's always something to be done. And there's always better that we could do for every part of our business, for everything, because you're never satisfied, ever.
And if you're anything like her, then you're planning out your entire day, your entire weekend. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And nothing gets done because something happened. You move this around. I'm like, look. So when she comes home and something tomorrow, she's like, oh man, tomorrow we're going to do this. I'm like, just stop talking. You're about to do it. Just do it. Don't tell me about it.
Yeah, that's definitely, yeah. But so, and that's kind of funny. Traveling for me, it's like I'm not at home. So if I stay like the night at a hotel or something, I'm not at home. I don't have to do anything. It's so relaxing.
The same thing.
Because I can't do anything because I'm not at home, and I'm like, oh, this is great. I just like sit here in the hotel room, and I usually have one of my dogs with me to keep me company. Yeah, I need somebody to talk to, and and so
Poor
I
dog.
just like relax and not not literally not have to do anything. And then of course there's the social aspect of expos, the wonderful relationships that I've gotten to build, that I see the same people, the same vendors on a regular basis, so we can go out to dinner, or we can hang out and talk, and that, so it's weird, kind of it's like my social life and my work life is all one.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
It's like it infiltrates every part of your life, every part of your being, and it's okay, because it's like you enjoy the journey with it. So
exactly. Yep.
So
I have a question for you. Now, as you can see, you guys on here, she's Roach Hollow Reptiles, and I think I know where your name came from, but can you tell everybody else where your name came from?
Of course. So I live on Roach Hollow Road.
Really?
Yes, she does.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
She does.
Wow.
Yep. And so of course, branding is, as you know, very important. And at that point, I didn't intend, it was a hobby. It was I'll make a little extra money. I didn't really intend to do anything, but I didn't, of course I want a good business name that doesn't sound dumb, whatever. And I could not think of anything. I just couldn't think of it. Nothing. And I'm like, nothing catches, hear it. And my husband walks up and he's like, why don't you call it Roach Hollow Reptiles and Bugs? And I was like, oh, and people pick up my business card and they see my address on my business card and they're like, that's where you got the name.
I knew when you signed up, for the Patreon thing, because it asked for your address or whatever, and I happened to see it. And I was like, that's where the name came from, Roach Hollow. I get it now.
Wow.
But, Yep. And, it took them like 5 minutes to come up with that. And you had been thinking about it for like a week, right? At least.
You're right.
Yep.
Now, actually, I thought of a question for you to put some more light on you and get you super kind of nervous. We seen you last time, and we know you run the road a lot, going to a lot of shows, and you look like a completely different woman.
Yes, you do.
Now, the reason I'm going to ask you about this because I know being on the road, you're going to eat out all the time. There's so many different bad choices of food that's out
it's
there.
terrible.
Yeah,
Yes, it is.
but at the same time of ripping and running and doing all these shows, you seem to
be
tighten up.
Yeah, you
done,
disappearing, girl.
yeah, you've done quite the job. So,
you look amazing.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
so tell us a little bit about that battle and that role.
That was not easy.
No.
and it's still not easy. So COVID hit, of course. COVID hit. I started working from home with my job. Expo shut down, and I'm literally sitting at my house eating my life away. And I gained a ton of weight. And then so I was like, I have to stop this. And if I don't actually try to fix a problem, then it just keeps getting worse. So I really had to dial in and try to lose the weight. Start eating healthier and, get more exercise and be disciplined. And that is the number one thing. I am the least disciplined person I know. It's terrible. And it takes so much discipline. So with all traveling, I have to pack my own food because the second I will go to a restaurant and I look at a menu, I'm going to order everything on the menu because I've been at the expo all day. I haven't eaten. I'm starving, and you're eating out so much. And it's like, I'm going to get the lasagna and, whatever. So, I had to bring my own food and not, subject myself to temptation. I mean, it sounds terrible, but that's I had to do it. Yeah. And so right now, I'm kind of been a little bit lax on things. I haven't, I'm eating out a lot more on the road. I'm not, preparing my meals for the entire weekend. And so, I'm eating a lot more junk lately. And now I'm like, okay, now I have to get back to the gym because I went to the gym before COVID and then the gym went down and I never went back. And I'm like, okay, but now I'm traveling. I have a completely different lifestyle. How do you find time to go to the gym?
Yeah, and that goes back to the time management and where you think you're gonna have all that time, and
you don't.
Nope, it's not there.
Exactly. Yeah. I thought I was like, oh look, I don't have anything to do all week. I can do whatever. I can get so much done. I can get my house clean all the time, and I can do this. Yeah. No.
And so there's time management, and then there's time perception.
My time perception's way off.
It's like, tomorrow we're gonna throw the house from the ground up, and then we're gonna build a house.
So how do you guys manage your time? Like, I mean, do you schedule like feeding, or do you schedule your cleaning, or you just go in and get it done?
We're more of a go in and get it done, but it is scheduled. So it's scheduled mostly on Mondays and Thursdays. Fridays as well. I'll be in there trying to get together the other non-Gecko stuff. But also we have tremendous help because, like yourself, we also ended up having to get employees. So we have a couple of employees. We have external, outside of the family employee that comes in and works. And then we have all four kids that actually,
they get paid
to work as well.
That's
which
that,
really
that's great. That's
Actually,
great. My daughter,
it's
she
awesome.
didn't want nothing to do with anything.
Oh, that
Oh.
sucks. That sucks. Well, that's I think we touched on it slightly on Patreon as well, but that's the whole big thing about the business aspect of Patreon and not giving tax advice. But at the end of the day, if you have family members, especially kids, that you can employ and actually pay them to come and work for you, I mean, you can write that off.
Yep.
Up
to like I think it's $12,000.
Yeah, I think they actually raised it this year. But it's like $12,000 plus per child.
I didn't know that.
Yes. So we'll dig in deep
Wow.
on the Patreon side. We'll hit you up and send you all the information on that. But yeah, it's all in the tax code.
Yep.
So it's very interesting to be able to do that. But you only get that perk on, obviously family members, your children. And that's even if, they, let's say for instance, they file their own taxes and all that other stuff, or it has nothing to do with claiming them or any of that.
No,
it's
it's
a
just
completely separate business. Yep.
That's really handy. My daughter ran. She graduated college. She's 27 now. So I mean,
Oh, wow.
she graduated college and then she was like, I'm going to Ohio. I'm having nightmares of crickets in my bed.
Yeah, been there, done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just wasn't, it wasn't her thing, and that's fine, and so she's, off living her best life, and that's the thing. That's how I got into reptiles later on in life, is when I was younger, I played with reptiles, my brother had snakes, I had dragon, bearded dragon, whatever. And then my daughter went off to college and I didn't know what to do with myself.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
Now I have 300 children?
I can tell you.
Gosh.
It filled the void. It filled the void.
I don't think these boys ever gonna leave the nest.
I don't think any of them are ever going to leave the nest. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, they love home too
They
much.
do. They love it.
Well, that's great though. That means they are happy children.
Oh, I love it too.
I love it
too. So I agree with that.
I've actually said, I'm like, we want to buy land eventually. And I said, it'd be really awesome if we had enough land where the kids, if they wanted to, they could build houses on the land. And then we could all just be like a little commune of people, our little family, our little village. But they will each have their own house that they can be messy in and that we can come and then be messy in as well.
Just have like a village. Like I told
and then you don't have to clean up their mess.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna leave them to clean up my mess when I go in their house and just jerk out everything.
Baby, that is not family.
There you go.
Estate. That is called a cult.
Okay. It's all right. It's all right. I'll have my family right close to me, and I will be able to protect them for years to come.
Sovereign citizens.
Yes. That is like a lot of people don't know what the sovereign citizen is. But yes, I love them being right here with us, and I love that they love that. Yeah. So.
Wow. So as far as the social media that you do utilize, what do you use more, Instagram or Facebook?
Facebook. I've been trying with all the free time I've got. I've been trying to use Instagram a little more.
Right.
And because I don't have a very big following on Instagram, it's decent on Facebook. I'm old. I'm Gen X. Like Facebook, I'm good with it. I know how to use it. But anything else for me is just kind of a struggle. So I try to just play with how to do reels on Instagram and stuff like that, and just play with it a little bit to familiarize myself with it. So I forget a lot though. Then it's bad. I should put a reminder in my phone, but take pictures at expos. I am so bad at, I need to get pictures of expos and post them on, on my page and stuff. And I forget. So.
You know, it's almost like being a visionary. When we first set off to do shows, I would probably get on her nerves at the show because it's almost you go into
At the shows, you get on my nerves all the time.
whatever. You can go into a mode where it's like, what is your main objective? And the main objective would be, all right, we go out, we sell some geckos, that's cool, but we need pictures. You need pictures. So we're taking pictures of everyone. We ask the people, do they want to take pictures? We're putting yourself out there. And then out of nowhere, you started to receive it back.
Oh.
Now it's like unsolicited. Now you go to a show, people are asking you to take pictures with them. Absolutely. You know, you put it out there on social media so much. It's like, hey, you see us, stop us and take pictures.
Yeah.
Because you need that content. No matter where you're posting it, you need that content. And just it even reminds you sometimes that say maybe you're not having a good outing. You know, you had a flat tire or some other type of headache on getting to where you got to go, and somebody's stopping you in your tracks to take pictures with you. They came just to come take pictures with you.
Just to talk with you, just to see you. And it completely turns your whole day around.
Yeah.
Like it turned like a negative moment into such a positive interaction. And so the people that you're interacting with at those shows and things like that, the people that are taking pictures with you and the people that you know, have had constant communication with now, it's like they become almost like your therapy at times.
Right. Absolutely.
And that is to me, one of the biggest compliments is for people to walk up to me and say, I follow you. You know, I see, love what you post on Facebook, and or they, bought a gecko from me previously. They didn't know me, and they come literally to the expo to purchase a gecko from me because that now know me. And that, to me, that is the biggest compliment. That makes me feel good about myself, and that just goes to show how much, putting your name out there, how important that is, that people know who you are. And I'm not the type of person that is very like, oh, look at me. I'm not like that. I'm more reserved. I don't, I'm good with being the face of anything, really, which is kind of ironic, but and so I guess I'm more naturally humble. And so it's for me to toot my own horn and be like, look, I have these awesome geckos and they're beautiful and they're, and I love them. And I produce healthy, quality, animals, and they're well taken care of. And I know that, but like I said, it's not easy for me to kind of toot my own horn.
Yeah, I think y'all both were the same exact way because that's how we started. She's exactly like that, and she's like, "Oh no, I'm gonna be the one behind the camera. You were." I'm like, "No, this ain't how it's gonna work. You better get your butt in front of that camera."
Yeah, he'll tell me, he's like, "You better just get used to it because you're getting in front of the camera."
I've been to since day one, and she had to work through her nerves. I guess it's a gift and a curse for me. I don't get nervous. I know a lot of people probably say that, but I don't get nervous.
He doesn't get embarrassed. He doesn't get nervous.
It just kind of is. I'm human. Everybody else is human, so what does it matter?
He does not care.
I tell myself that, but
you have to. I mispronounce words. I don't understand everything. I can't say certain words. We laugh at it all the time. And I say, if you can't laugh at yourself,
then you can't.
Yeah, it just is what it is.
So he's gotten me to the point now where I'm a lot more confident. So it's just like the more you do it, Stephanie, the more it'll become like kind of second nature. And like when I screw up, because I screw up all the time, I like say stuff and he'll nudge me like goofy, like just like I can't believe I said that. You know what I'm saying? And then they'll make fun of me for days afterwards, because I said it. And I'm just like, now I'm getting to the point where I don't care. Just make fun of me. I don't care.
And it's just a progression of where you start and where you're heading. And if you just continue to do the same thing over and over, hopefully learning different things along the way, it just becomes, I guess, more of a relaxed state. It's just easier to do.
Mm-hmm.
We used to have all kinds of stuff. We used to have equipment failures, internet connections, all kinds of stuff would go on at the last minute, and she will be losing it.
I would too. Oh yeah, you should see me trying to, for like the hour before this, trying to make sure everything was set up perfectly, like make sure my computer works and make sure my camera, and make sure the camera's at the right angle. And I'm like, make sure the dogs aren't barking. And
oh my
Yeah.
God. So
but
we're
you're
gonna
right.
dig into what is it? Your guards. How many gargoyles do you have? How many Cresteds do you have?
And what morphs are you currently working with as far as Crested?
Yes.
So my gargoyles, don't have nearly as many gargoyles, but as I have Crested Geckos. The Cresties took over. So I have 5. I have 5 breeding female gargoyles. Everybody is a red stripe gargoyle, either red stripe or red base, because that's my favorite. That's what I like, I would like to expand more in the gargoyles, but as you know, they're not quite as prolific. So, Crested Geckos, I have my friend / employee. She counted them yesterday while she was feeding, and so the babies, subadults, babies that are still, little. I have 108 apparently right now, which isn't a ton. But my girls were late starting laying, so I've still got probably about 70 eggs incubating. And then I've got, I want to say 25 adult females that are breeding, and then probably 10 to 20 more adults that are growing up.
Okay.
So, and I don't know how many boys I have. I have too many boys. As
no
far as projects, the Crested Geckos, probably my favorites are high contrast, tricolor, and Xanthics. I have an Xanthic project. It's
I saw. Yes.
But I think I've got four females in that project, and I've got 2 proven 100% hep males, which I don't need because I got impatient and I bought a visual. So is looking like it's going to be a boy, because
yes, that's great.
Yeah, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna. I don't have the time for this. I'm gonna jump right in, and right now is a good time to buy because the market. We're in a nice dip. I'm like, well, I'm gonna dip into visual Xanthic, so that's excited about that. So yeah, tricolors, high contrast, a lot of dark base. I don't care for light base geckos. I don't know why. I mean, they're cute. There's nothing wrong with them. But I love dark base geckos with light patterning.
Gotcha.
So, yeah. You like that contrast, that deep dark contrast.
Mm-hmm. I do. Yep.
And what's your oldest Crested Gecko? What's your oldest Crested Gecko you have?
My oldest Crested Gecko, so she just retired and went to live with a friend of mine a couple months ago, and she is 10 now.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Okay. Still young. Did you have any complications with her as she got older or no?
No. She probably, I would say, one of my best breeders. She's on the smaller side. She weighs about 45 grams, and she's just, she's cute. And she's a cute little yellow-based, light-based gecko, which, not really my thing. But I love reds, and so I kind of have a few of the yellows to put in with the reds. But she was an expert layer. She gave me like 10, 12 eggs every year, and I mean, it just didn't even phase her. She really acts like she's in her prime. But so I was going to give her this year off, and so I didn't pair her this year. At the beginning of the year, I decided I was going to give her this year off just to give her a break. And then I realized that at her age, I'm probably, that'll put her like at 11 or 12 by the time I breed her again. So I just went ahead and retired her.
See, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. The craziest thing, we found new information from Brian, actually himself. Believe it or not, they're hitting their prime in that age. 10 to 15.
What? Really?
Serious. Because they're not like humans. They're 10 to 15. They're hitting their prime. And that's the craziest thing. And if you haven't noticed, because it happened to us as well, you get a female, or hatch one out, or you purchase one that's young, and sometimes they are very reluctant to either breed or lay. 2.5, 3 years old.
Yeah, look at that.
Nothing.
Like
4 years old, you get nothing. And
this particular year too, they started like
they started producing. But and talking and networking with Brian, he said, what? Yeah, 10, 15 years old, they're in their prime.
That's
in their prime. So something to think about.
And I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised at all. I've talked to friends of mine, Kelly owns Eclipse Exotics, and Paul Morlock owns Rack House. And
yes, I was just talking with them. Yes,
so much experience with gargoyles. I'm like nagging them all the time, asking questions and this and that. And so Paul's got a 45-year-old female
gargoyle. Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
45. And I'm like, if they have the capability, do we really know how long their lifespan is? Especially crested geckos, because we didn't have them until the mid 90s, and it hasn't long. So we actually know what their lifespan should be or is capable of?
No one knows. We're guessing that it's 20 plus years.
Yeah.
There are people out there, even Rack House was saying the same thing. That number's probably low. So I wouldn't put it past them if 10 to 15 years old is actually prime time for these females.
Yeah. Because I'm telling you, we've had one of these females that we're speaking about for us is Griselda.
Oh, Xanthic.
Griselda is a pain in the butt.
Visual
Xanthic. She's just been a pain in our behind trying to deal with her. She hasn't
produced a single baby, and she's 4, 5.
4 going on 5 years old this year.
Yeah, finally.
She's popping out eggs now. So, and then we have then we have it was a Crested that is now she's fine.
Yeah, she was another one, 5 years old, 50% Xanthic female.
Clutch mate to the chosen one.
Right. Her first egg to hatch. Visual Xanthic. Wow.
That is amazing. She's like, okay, I'll make you wait, but it'll be worth it.
It was worth it. Sure.
Now we got to change her name because we were so mad at her.
We named her
Aaron. Okay, so I've got, and this is kind of funny. So I let my husband name the geckos because I'm sorry, I have way too many geckos. I can't be naming everybody. And it's, he's like, no, they need names. I'm like, all right. So I got last Thanksgiving. I think I got the female from you guys.
You got two pretty
For
girls.
Black Friday, I got 2. Yeah. So my husband, he's like, all right, tell me about this gecko because he's going to name it. And I'm like, okay. I said, well, I got her from Flawless Crested Geckos. And I said, and she, she's a beautiful, beautiful female gecko. We need to be this girl's name. And so he says, her name is TGIF. And I said, what? And he said, thank God it's flawless.
Oh, wow. That is awesome.
Oh my God. That's so great. Tell your husband.
And that is her name.
That's creative.
He did good. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, wow.
Freaking awesome. Thank you.
Nope. And she's beautiful. I love her. She's not I weighed her, I think she's up to 48 grams. She was just kind of holding steady at like high 30s. And so I was like, all right, lady, you need to eat a little bit more. And just in the last couple months, she's just blown up. So this spring. I'm excited.
On those winter pounds.
So the gecko that she's talking about, she's a sibling to Attila, Milan, and Crayola.
Okay.
So we have 3 girls from that particular one that are rolling this year. We actually have eggs from all 3 of them.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. I've got I've got a few new pairings. That the girls, I don't know why everybody started laying late. But so I have a few new pairings from this year that I'm really excited about because, that's probably the most exciting thing for me is to see what they make, the babies that they make.
Right.
Yep.
And so, little tiny hatchlings pop out, and I've only had literally some of my girls that started laying late. Their first 2 eggs just hatched out within the last month. That's how late they were.
Yeah.
And so, but they're, they start growing and developing, and you can see how they're going to end up. And that's probably one of my favorite parts.
I will agree with that. Like we, egg popped out a hatchling popped out last night. It's actually one of our xanthic lily white pairings, and this baby is the weirdest looking baby. I'm like so excited. The Magna.
Oh
yeah, it's the wildest looking baby. I'm so excited to see this progression on this little hatchling. Like it's fun to see what they look like, right out of the egg to when they get full grown.
Yeah,
it is. And every once in a while, somebody will be over here and, and they'll pull out one of the geckos that like, my holdbacks or something, be like, oh, Steph, look, this gecko's beautiful. And I haven't seen it in a while. And I'm like, it's nice if I don't, I don't look at them. And I'm like, what are you doing? Grow, hurry up. So.
That feels like us.
Seriously. They're always the ones you want to grow fast.
That don't.
Like what?
Nope.
Every single time.
They want to be pains.
Every single time.
Yeah.
So we've had you for a while.
Yes.
We're gonna wrap it up for you. We're at an hour 15 minutes.
Yeah, this is a long
Thank
one.
you for spending your
time.
Friday night with us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Oh, definitely. Actually, we're gonna bring you back on. So everyone, definitely stay tuned. We'll definitely notify you with notice.
Yeah.
And what we're gonna be doing is after this season, kind of right around maybe the new year, right before it ramps up for breeding and everything again, we're gonna bring you back on and recap your season. How many babies you ended up with. We want to discuss a lot of the stuff that we talk about, even on Patreon, on camera. We're transparent about everything as far as, hey, Did we have any complications? How can we fix some of the problems that maybe we had? Or maybe you had a successful season with no issues at all. And what did you do to make sure that you had a successful season so other people can learn from you some of your best practice, maybe something you're doing everyone may not be aware of. So we're going to recap the season.
Definitely.
Yeah. Yes. See, Frank said, I'd love to see her in future streams.
Oh, absolutely.
They love you.
Thank you.
You need to get your plans together and start some more social media channels.
Absolutely.
Your own YouTube.
Or even the simplest things. We'll chat you up because even your setup is awesome. I love the displays in the back. And I don't want to add more things on that timeline for you, but even if you're doing your weekly feedings and cleanings, hey, you might want to sit down for 30 seconds, say, hey guys, do a little intro. By the way, I'm gonna be talking to you guys as I walk around and clean.
Yeah.
You're probably like Audra, where you could be in an empty room and talking to the geckos.
I did.
She talks to the geckos.
Never. That never happens.
I say, look, we'll be fine as long as you don't tell me they're answering.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'll be in there and I'll be like, where are you going? Hey, girl.
Who are you talking to?
And he's like, what did you say, babe? I'm like, I wasn't talking to you.
There's nobody else.
I'm sorry, I was talking to the geckos.
Right. But it'd be
totally.
Something like that. So
yeah.
So because I know me, and if I can either, because I really do need to concentrate more on social media and get that up and going. So it'll either be me or I'll hire somebody to do it.
There you
that'll
go.
work as long as it gets done.
Yeah, there is nothing
Exactly.
wrong.
And so we'll follow up on that and definitely touch base again on that. But thank you so much for spending your Friday night with us.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Thank you guys. It's been a pleasure. And I will see you all up at Tinley, right?
Yes, you will. And before you go, what's your next 2 shows? What's your next 2 shows?
Where people can find you.
Where people can come see you.
So I will be at the Reptilian Nation Expo, not this weekend, but a week from this weekend. So next week, it's the 16th and 17th. I'm pretty sure of the dates. Huge show in Atlanta. Should be lots of fun. And then after that, I think the weekend after that, I'm in Huntsville, Alabama, but have to check my schedule.
Gotcha.
All
So
right.
Reptilian Nation.
Go
see her at Reptilian Nation.
Stephanie at the
Roach
Roach
Hollow
table. And for all of your social media questions, she's on Facebook. So hit her
up on Facebook.
She's
Definitely.
trying to get her Instagram going. So let's push her on Instagram too.
And check her out for some of them isopods.
Yes.
Cultures.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we appreciate everybody, and hopefully everybody enjoys their evening, night at this point. And we're going to get us some grub. So thank you guys very much, and you guys have a good night.
Good night.
You too. Bye.
Bye.